The silence in the briefing room was suffocating. Captain Marik could feel the weight of Commander Trellon's and Overseer Xylok's eyes on her, each expecting an answer she wasn't sure how to deliver. The revelation that something was activating beneath the planet's surface had already strained the delicate peace between the Raith and the Vexari, and she knew one wrong move would send the entire situation spiraling into chaos. Marik straightened, choosing her words carefully. There's been an energy spike beneath the planet's surface. We're still analyzing the data, but it appears to be unrelated to either of your claims on the planet. Trellon's expression darkened. Unrelated? You expect us to believe that something of such significance is just coincidentally happening while we sit here, discussing control over this world? Xylok's eyes flickered with suspicion. The Vexari will not stand for this, Captain. If the Raith have somehow unearthed an ancient weapon to use against us— Marik raised a hand, cutting her off. Neither the Raith nor the Vexari are responsible for what's happening beneath the surface. This planet holds an ancient structure, one that appears to have been dormant for millennia. It's only just begun to activate, and we're investigating it as we speak. Trellon's eyes narrowed. An ancient structure? What are you hiding from us, Captain? I'm not hiding anything, Marik said firmly, holding his gaze. Our scans have revealed that the structure is most likely some form of advanced technology, possibly an AI system. It hasn't been activated in centuries, and we don't know its full purpose. Xylok leaned forward, her voice tense. If this technology could shift the balance of power on this planet, then we must have access to it. Absolutely not, Trellon growled. If this structure is a source of power, it belongs to the Raith. Marik could feel the tension in the room thickening. This was exactly what she'd feared. The moment either side learned about the structure, they would claim it for themselves. The precarious peace she'd been trying to maintain was rapidly unraveling, and they were on the verge of open conflict. We don't even know what this structure is capable of, Marik said, her voice sharp with authority. If it's truly an AI system, it could be dangerous. We need time to understand it before anyone makes any claims. And why should we trust you to investigate it? Trellon demanded. This is our planet, our future at stake. The Vexari will not allow the Raith to seize control of such a valuable resource, Xylok added, her voice icy. Before Marik could respond, Orlus's voice crackled through her communicator again, filled with urgency. Captain, you need to come to the bridge, now. The energy spike is increasing, and I'm detecting movement beneath the surface. Marik's heart skipped a beat. Movement? What kind of movement? I think the structure is beginning to open, Orlus replied. Something is coming out. Marik's mind raced. The situation was escalating faster than she had anticipated. If the structure was becoming active, they had no time to waste. But keeping the Raith and the Vexari from turning this into a full-scale war was going to be nearly impossible. She turned to Voss. Keep the delegations here. I need to see what's happening. Understood, Voss said, stepping forward to stand between the two tense delegations. Marik moved swiftly toward the door, her thoughts racing. The stakes had just been raised, and now, more than ever, the wrong decision could ignite a conflict that would engulf the planet, and perhaps the entire sector. The bridge of the Vanguard was a flurry of activity when Marik arrived. Orlus at the science station, her eyes wide with concern as she monitored the readings coming from the planet. Orlus, what's happening down there? Marik asked, her voice sharp with urgency. Orlus glanced up, her expression grim. The structure beneath this face, it's opening. We're detecting large mechanical movements, almost like doors or panels shifting. And there's more. The energy readings are off the charts. Whatever this thing is, it's waking up. Marik's eyes narrowed. Are there any signs of life? Orlus shook her head. No biological life signs, but there's something else. Some kind of artificial intelligence signature. It's faint, but growing stronger. Marik's stomach twisted. An ancient AI system, buried beneath the planet for millennia, now waking up in the middle of a tense diplomatic standoff between two warring species. The situation couldn't be more volatile. Can we establish communication with it? Marik asked, a part of her dreading the answer. Orlus hesitated. Maybe. I'm working on establishing a data link now, but it's like nothing we've seen before. Its programming is alien, advanced beyond anything we've encountered. Keep working on it, Marik said, turning to the view screen. Lenka, show me what's happening on the surface. The view screen flickered, revealing a live feed from the planet below. A massive section of the ground had shifted, revealing a large circular structure rising slowly from the Earth. The surface of the structure was covered in intricate alien symbols, glowing faintly with blue energy as it activated. "What is that thing?" Lenka whispered, her voice filled with awe. "It's more than just a structure," as Marik muttered. "It's a machine." Orlis's console beeped, drawing her attention back to her scans. "Captain, the structure is emitting some kind of signal, an activation code or a beacon. I can't tell which, but whatever it's doing, it's reaching out to something." "Reaching out?" Marik frowned. "To who or what?" "I don't know," Orlis replied, her fingers flying across the console. "But I'm working on deciphering the signal. We might be able to trace where it's being sent." Before Marik could respond, the ship's comm system chirped, and Voss's voice came through, tense and urgent. "Captain, we have a problem. Traylon and Xylock are demanding access to the bridge. They know something is happening on the surface, and they're not happy." Marik's grip tightened on the armrest of her chair. "Of course they're not. Keep them contained as long as you can. I need to figure out what we're dealing with before we let them up here." "Understood, Captain," Voss said, "but they won't wait forever." Marik knew he was right. The Raith and the Vexari would soon demand to be part of whatever was unfolding on the planet, and when they learned about the full extent of the structure's activation, all hell could break loose. They were sitting on a powder keg, and the fuse was already lit. "Captain," Orlis called, her voice tense. "I've got something. I think I've deciphered part of the signal." Marik turned, her heart pounding. "What does it say?" Orlis looked up, her face pale. "It's a directive. The structure is programmed to awaken a central intelligence, a sentient AI that's been dormant for centuries, and once it's fully online, it's going to reassert control over the planet." Marik's blood ran cold. Control the planet? For what purpose? Orlis hesitated. "It's hard to tell, but the language suggests some kind of planetary management system. It's not just a machine. It's designed to oversee and control all resources and life on the planet." Marik's mind raced. If the AI was designed to take control of the planet's resources, then it would supersede both the Raith and the Vexari claims. And if either side believed the other was trying to seize control of it, there would be no stopping the war. "We have to stop the activation," Marik said, her voice filled with urgency. "If this AI comes online and tries to take control of the planet, it'll trigger a war that no one can stop." Orlis's hands flew over her console. "I'm trying to interrupt the signal, but it's embedded deep in the structure's systems. I'll need more time." Marik's and raced as the pieces began to fall into place. The planet's resources, the territorial dispute between the Raith and the Vexari, and now an ancient AI waking up to claim control. It was all connected. "We're running out of time," Marik muttered, "and if we don't act soon, this whole sector will be engulfed in war." She turned to the view screen, watching as the ancient structure continued to rise from the planet's surface, its alien symbols glowing brighter with every passing moment. Whatever was happening down there, it was accelerating, and she knew they were dangerously close to losing control of the situation. "We need a plan," Marik said, her voice filled with determination, "and fast." Captain Alera Marik's heart raced as she watched the ancient structure continue to rise from the surface of the contested planet. The glowing symbols pulsed like a heartbeat, each flash of light signaling that the awakening of the AI was coming closer. She could almost feel the tension vibrating through the bridge as the crew scrambled to understand the gravity of what they were witnessing. "Orlis, how much time do we have before this thing fully activates?" Marik asked, her voice laced with urgency. Orlis, hunched over her console, looked pale. "Minutes, maybe less. The AI is almost fully online. If we don't stop it now, it will assume control of the planet's resources and anything living on the surface. And by then, the Raith and Vexari will both think the other side is trying to seize control of it," Marik muttered. "This is about to turn into a war." Marik turned to Lenka, who sat at the helm, her face tense but focused. "What's the status on the Raith and Vexari fleets?" Lenka glanced at her tactical display. "Both fleets are holding position, but they're on edge. Any sign of an activation on the planet could push them into action. Commander Trellon and Overseer Xylock are both demanding updates. Marik's mind raced. Time was running out, and they were balancing on the knife's edge of diplomacy and disaster. The activation of the AI, combined with the suspicion and mistrust between the Raith and Vexari, would be the spark that ignited a galactic war. Before she could issue her next order, the doors to the bridge slid open, and Commander Voss entered, flanked by Raith Commander Trellon and Vexari Overseer Xylock. Both alien leaders looked tense, their eyes filled with suspicion and barely contained hostility. "What is going on, Captain Marik?" Trellon demanded, his deep voice booming across the bridge. "We were told you would keep us informed of any developments, and now we see that something is happening on the surface of the planet, something you haven't shared with us." Xylock stepped forward, her sharp eyes narrowing. "You are hiding information from us, Captain. This ancient structure beneath the planet could shift the balance of power. The Vexari will not stand by while the Wraith seize control of it." Marik stood tall, meeting both their gazes with calm authority. "Neither of your species has control over this structure. It's an ancient AI system that's been dormant for centuries, and right now, it's waking up. If it fully activates, it will take control of the planet's resources, and possibly even the life on the surface. We're trying to stop it before it's too late." Trellon's eyes flashed with suspicion. "And how do we know you're not using this AI as an excuse to keep the planet out of Wraith hands? Your neutrality is questionable at best." Xylock crossed her arms, her mandibles twitching in frustration. The Wraith would love nothing more than to see the Vexari weakened by such a power grab. Marik felt the rising tension in the room like a pressure wave. She could see the mistrust etched into their faces, the years of enmity driving their every thought. One wrong word, and this standoff would descend into violence. She took a deep breath. "Listen to me carefully. This AI is not a tool either of you can use. It's a threat. If we don't shut it down, it could take control of the planet and everything on it, putting both of your people at risk." Trellon and Xylock exchanged glances, the hostility momentarily giving way to uncertainty. Voss stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "This isn't about who controls the planet anymore. It's about preventing an ancient system from causing damage none of us can predict. If we work together, we can deactivate the AI and avoid a war." The bridge was quiet for a long moment, the Raith and Vexari leaders silently weighing their options. The tension hung in the air like a storm about to break. Finally, Trellon spoke, his voice low and grudging. "If this AI is truly a Threer, then we will work with you to stop it. But make no mistake, Captain, the Wraith will not be denied our rightful claim to this planet." Xylock's eyes gleamed with caution, but she nodded slowly. "The Vexari will cooperate, for now, but any treachery, and the consequences will be swift." Marik exhaled, a slight sense of relief washing over her. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. She had managed to keep the peace for now, but she knew it was fragile, and the situation could still explode if they didn't move fast. "Orlis," Marik said, turning back to her science officer, "we need to shut this AI down now. Is there any way to access its control systems remotely?" Orlis shook her head, her fingers moving quickly over her console. "The system is too deeply embedded in the planet's infrastructure. We'll need to send a team down to the surface to manually deactivate it." Marik frowned. "That's dangerous. We have no idea what kind of defenses the AI might have, or what it's capable of." "I know," Orlis replied, her voice tight, "but we don't have another choice. The activation sequence is already past the point of no return. If we don't intervene directly, the AI will assume full control." Marik's mind raced. A mission to the surface was risky, but it was their only chance. She turned to Voss, who had been listening intently. "Voss, prepare an away team," Marik said. "We'll need engineering expertise and combat support in case things go wrong. You're in charge." Voss nodded, his expression grim but resolute. "I'll take a team down and make sure we get to the core. We'll shut it down." Trellon stepped forward, his face hard. "The Wraith will send a representative to ensure our interests are protected." "As will the Vexari," Xylock added. Marik hesitated. Bringing both Raith and Vexari representatives on the mission would complicate things, but refusing them could reignite the conflict. She nodded reluctantly. "Fine, But understand this, once we're down there, we follow my lead. Any interference, and this mission fails. Both leaders nodded, though neither looked particularly happy about it. Marik turned back to the view screen, watching as the structure on the planet continued to rise, its symbols glowing brighter as the activation process neared completion. Time was running out. "Get to the shuttle," Marik ordered. "We leave as soon as we're ready." The shuttle descended through the planet's atmosphere, its engines humming as it cut through the swirling clouds that shrouded the surface. Voss sat at the helm, his focus unwavering as he guided the ship toward the coordinates of the ancient structure. Behind him, Orlis worked at her console, monitoring the energy readings from the AI. "We're approaching the structure," Voss said, his voice steady. "Brace for landing." The shuttle touched down on a flat expanse near the base of the massive structure. The ground beneath them was smooth and metallic, the surface reflecting the faint glow of the symbols etched into the structure's towering walls. The air was thick with tension as the team disembarked. The away team consisted of Voss, Orlis, and 2 security officers from the Vanguard, as well as a Raith engineer and a Vexari tactical officer. The tension between the 2 alien representatives was palpable, but for the moment they seemed more focused on the task at hand than on their mutual hostility. Orlis stepped forward, scanning the structure with her handheld device. "The entrance is ahead. I'm detecting a control chamber deep within the core of the structure. That's where we need to go." "Let's move," Voss said, leading the way toward the towering doors that marked the entrance to the structure. As they approached, the doors slid open with a low rumble, revealing a dark corridor that stretched deep into the heart of the structure. The walls were lined with glowing symbols, the energy pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. The team moved cautiously through the corridor, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The air was heavy with the sense of something ancient and powerful, something that had been waiting for centuries to awaken. Orlis glanced at her scanner, her face grim. "The AI is nearly fully online. We need to reach the core before it activates completely." Voss nodded, his hand resting on the hilt of his phaser. "We'll get there." But as they rounded a corner, the corridor widened into a massive chamber, and standing in the center of the room was something none of them had expected. A humanoid figure, tall and imposing, its body made of sleek, metallic armor, stood motionless in the center of the chamber. Its eyes glowed faintly with the same blue light that pulsed through the structure, and as the team entered the room, its head slowly turned to face them. "What is that?" the Raith engineer whispered, his voice filled with awe and fear. "It's a sentinel," Orlis replied, her voice trembling, "a guardian of the AI." The sentinel's eyes glowed brighter, and it took a step forward, its movements slow and deliberate. "We've got company," Voss muttered, drawing his phaser. The team prepared for a fight as the sentinel advanced, its metallic body gleaming in the dim light of the chamber. "We need to get to the control core," Orlis said urgently, "but that thing won't let us through." "Then we'll have to take it down," Voss said, his voice hard. "Stay sharp. This thing won't go down easy." As the sentinel moved toward them, its eyes glowing with a cold, calculating intelligence, Voss knew that the next few moments would determine the fate of the planet, and perhaps the entire sector.